Hey guys, so today's live stream is going to be about all those false prophets out there who have not prophesied the death of Charlie Kirk. Now, I'm someone who I don't pay attention to politics at all. My husband does, on the other hand. So that's how I became aware of, someone called Charlie Kirk and his assassination. Um, Instead, of course, you have silly um, so-called prophecies about Donald Trump or the president who's in power. But yeah, the people who are maybe not that important in other people's minds or these so-called prophets' minds, they are actually never mentioned. And that's because these people don't hear from God, right? They're not getting prophecies from God. And that's why no one, including the Sister Celestial from the Master's Voice Prophecy blog, never said anything about Charlie Kirk being assassinated. Yet she says Donald Trump will be assassinated and he will die, which never happened. But of course, what's the chance of Donald Trump being assassinated and killed? Of course, these chances are probably a lot higher because he's the president, right? Than someone like Charlie Kirk, for example. So they are basically hoping in their hearts, right, that it will be the president, because the chances are much higher for the president to be attacked. So I want to share this video that I've just looked at now, and I need to share this. Okay. Wait. To look again. How can I share this? Okay. Hi, Mike, in the chat. No, it is actually 8 o'clock in the morning, and I have to be at work at 9. So, and I'm still in my PJs. So, as you can see, here is another one, a prophecy of a great fall. And she's, now that people have come against that false prophet, she calls herself Sister Celestial. Yeah. Her real name is Esther, as far as I know. But now she's making all these small videos. This one is 9 minutes long, where she apparently prophesied, this would happen. And here, prophecy of a great fall. This is from November the 21st, 2020. Basically, she's saying to people, look, I've prophesied that. And it came to pass, yeah. But of course, what she doesn't do is make a video of saying, oh, look, I prophesied the death of Donald Trump. But he never did die. But God saved him, actually. So, no, she doesn't make any videos about that. So let's see what she says here.
2020. Posted by
Oh, by the way, which is AI, which is fine, but wasn't it her who said AI is of the devil? And, part of the beast system? Anyway, hypocrisy.
Celestial on November 21st, 2020. This picture belongs to Iran front page news. It is not precisely what I saw, but the fire and images at the back are very close. This is what the Lord Almighty says: Babylon's thick wall will be leveled and her high gates set on fire. The peoples exhaust themselves for nothing. The nation's labor is only fuel for the flames. Jeremiah 51 verse 58. These words woke me up today. America is at her demise. She is at her decline, and the retribution for her sins will not be held back at this time. Read Ezekiel 13. I got up and read Ezekiel 13. In it, the Lord castigates false prophets and warns them against misleading his people with lying dreams that promise peace for their land, when in fact no peace is intended toward them by God.
So to just summarize a little bit what's happening here, okay? So she got a dream, and in the dream, it sounds like she saw Trump with fire behind him and, you know, war again, whatever. Then she says this picture belongs to Iran front page news. It is not precisely what I saw, but the fire and images at the back are very close. So I have no idea what that even means. Okay. Did she see Trump in it as well? Why is Trump there if she only saw the people and the fire in the background like that? And then she refers to Jeremiah about Babylon, which has absolutely nothing to do with America. Babylon was, of course, the spiritual enemy of God that was manifested in the apostate Jerusalem. Jerusalem, guys, okay, not America. So, and then she says, America is at her demise. She's at her decline, and the retribution of her sins will not be held back at this time. And then read Ezekiel 13. And Ezekiel 13 is all about false prophets. And you see, this happened before, that she's reading the people who are prophesying falsely, which is that's her. It's a lie. You're telling people lies. You've told people that Trump would die. Never happened. Actually, God saved Trump. Okay? Where's the prophecy that Charlie Kirk would die? It's not there. This is why God is showing you, read Ezekiel 13. Okay? That's you. That's for you. That was a message for you. It wasn't a message for whole of America. Because, by the way, there is other false prophets in other countries as well. I know it's very difficult to imagine to those people, those false prophets in America. They think it's all about America, but actually, no, it's not. There's other countries out there. So this was a message to you, Esther.
V16. God promises woe to prophets who don't see or hear anything from him, but are speaking out of divination, error, and their own belly. V2. 3. He promises to strike them for their false visions, nonsense, and lies. V7-8. Please take time to read this chapter. The Lord.
Yeah, nonsense and lies. Okay? He promises to strike them for their false visions, nonsense, and lies. So let's go back and let's revisit the time when Esther said that Biden would be voted in, but he wouldn't be president for long, and that Kamala Harris would take over, and she would be the president for America who was not voted in, and she would absolutely destroy America. And that never happened. Okay, never happened and never will happen again. Never will happen. That Biden will be voted in as president again and Kamala Harris will take over. That was the time in the past, and that never happened. So that was a lie. Did she make a video of that? No. Did she apologize to people? No. Did she eat humble pie? No. She made up another lie. And she continues it on, that Trump will be assassinated and he will die. Did that happen? No. He was assassinated and he lived. So there you go, another lie. And what was her excuse? Oh, well, God changed his mind because, he gave the people what they wanted. But there's no more grace, remember? That's what she says. There's no more grace. So she's all over the place. Okay, guys, all over the place. And really, what it's about is that people are looking for that. It's not because, people already have something in their head that they want to hear. And they found her who is speaking those things that they want to hear. That's why you can tell them till the cows come home, she lied. They don't care. They love the lie. They lie to themselves.
Also talks of a wall he will tear down, a wall the people trust in, a wall that will fall, and every prophet who spoke of that wall as being a hope and salvation will fall with it. V10:15. As I was reading, the Lord said, Donald Trump will be killed. This statement I've heard many times before, more times than I've ever written on this blog. I hear it but don't say it. After all, I've said it occasionally, and that is enough.
Yeah. And there we see the real prophets in the Bible who spoke the words of God and they received them. But there's Esther saying, no, I've heard it too many times. I've said it too many times. That's enough. I don't need to say it anymore. She's really, I can imagine. I'm laughing, but it's terrible. It's a mental illness. It is a mental illness. And really, I wouldn't be surprised, and I said it before, if Esther, and I hope it won't happen, if Esther would have to go to hospital one day, because to believe that you are someone special. We have people in hospital that think they're Jesus, or they think they're God, or whatever. This is not far off. Okay, this is not far off, and she's really what's the word? It's a torture. It sounds torturous to have these thoughts in your head, even while you're sleeping. No peace. No peace, not at peace at all. And I wish she could see that actually she could be at peace. And what she is repeating are the doctrines and the indoctrination that she's been given from when she was very small, really sad. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she would end up in hospital one day.
But on hearing it today, I felt bad because I'm tired of how wicked people always seem to get their way. It is always them doing well, achieving their ends, while innocent people, or at times not so innocent people, suffer at their deceitful hands.
Hold on a minute. Why are you being such a victim? Because last time I checked your profile, you had like over 300,000, might even be more now, followers. Maybe even more. I think a lot more, probably. But a lot of followers. So why are you're doing well? You apparently work as a lawyer. You live in New York. You're doing well. You're one of those people who's doing well. Why are you putting yourself into this victim mentality mode situation? I don't know. Like you're some sort of a victim. You're not. Okay? But again, I think it's probably you were a victim, yeah, of religion. You were a victim. And unfortunately, it's just being confused with the indoctrination that's still going on. You were a victim and you are a victim of religion. That's the true perpetrator here. Okay? But you in your life, you are doing well. So stop lying to yourself. There's like this how do you call it? Cognitive dissonance or whatever it's called. It's like doesn't make sense. You're telling people, why are these wicked people always doing well? Well, you're doing well. It's not just wicked people who do well.
It is really something to ponder, as Jeremiah did. Jeremiah 12 verse 1. The Lord repeated, they will kill Trump. They will not rest until they find a way to remove him entirely from public life. As I heard this, I did not assume they automatically means Democrats, as many will upon reading this.
It's the Democrats. It's the Democrats. Now, if you can't see that this is such indoctrination, you know, because she would never speak those things if she wasn't listening to the news. If you would just live somewhere in the forest or in the desert, you would be saying, oh yeah, I knew it was the Democrats, you know. This is just all accumulation of watching news, of hearing things, and selling it to people by saying this is the word of God. And people, it's like a mass psychosis. You know what I mean? There's actually something called a mass psychosis, and you can see that in cults. But it's, I believe, people who want to hear that. I don't think people are victims of that.
Truly, it's not good to process things through such a narrow lens. People assume that everything revolves around America when in fact God is speaking of a much bigger.
That's what you say. You say it's America. Just 2 minutes earlier, she was like, America, you know? Well, hold on, let me see. Here, America is at her demise. She is at her decline. And the retribution of her sins will not be held back at this time. You're making it about America. Now she's bloody mind effing us again. You know? Saying, oh, make it about America.
A way to remove him entirely from public life. As I heard this, I did not assume. Truly, it's not good to process things through such a narrow lens. People assume that everything revolves around America when in fact God is speaking of a much bigger, the unseen hand, a far more widespread evil than we can even conceive of. This is evil that is almost impersonal in how it destroys. One day the truth of they will reveal that nothing involved just America, but actually included plans that would affect the whole world. Satan is an equal opportunity destroyer. But let me continue. As the Lord spoke, I saw Donald Trump preparing to come down from a crumbling marble pedestal, a podium with.
Yeah, that is by, oh, sorry, I didn't mute myself there. This is actually something she said about Kamala Harris as well. And Biden as well. She always has these visions of the president standing on the stage and everything crumbling around it. This is just such a joke. Now it's Trump, obviously. It's his turn, you know. Wow.
Overlaid curly designs at the top, like in Greek architecture. The stand was cracked and chipped. Pieces of the fancy design were gone, and the steps leading up to it were gray and dirty. Trump had his head down, shoulders slumped, and he looked very, very tired. I had not known until this election how old this
Okay, so
man
that was
was.
a vision. How is that a vision when Trump looks like that now? He looks very tired from what I've seen. Like I said, I'm not glued to the TV. But when my husband watches it, you know, now and again, and I was just the other day, I said to him, God, doesn't he look tired? Yeah. I mean, the man is old. Do you know what I mean? And he looks tired. He's doing a lot of work. So these are not visions of something in the future. This is actually now. Okay. Again, guys, it's just itching ears who want to hear that. That's all I can say. Itching ears get for themselves these teachers or prophets, false prophets.
His energy is surprising when you see him in action, but in this vision, he looked every one of his 74 years. He looked worn out, wearing a long coat as he does when he travels, and I saw he was preparing to come
It's
down.
called TV, darling. You didn't have a spiritual vision. You were watching TV. That's where we all see it.
Down from the pedestal. But for the moment, he was still there, and the scene behind him was terrible. America was on fire. I saw behind him the American flag not tied to any flagpole, blowing in the wind by itself. It was on fire, semi-transparent, and many other fires burned behind it. In fact, the whole scene behind Trump was on fire, tall buildings ablaze where missiles had hit them, and
So what does that even mean? Everything was on fire. I mean, now you can, you know, Lay that out whatever way you want. Yeah.
Even as I watched, more missiles whistled through the air to land on them again. I saw missiles like big silver bullets curving 2 and 3 at a time out of a burning, smoky sky of blackened clouds. The clouds were black at the top and smoke rose from the ground to mix with them in solid pillars like
That's really important, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, these are her dreams, that she's her fears. This is what she's dreaming about. And now we're hearing about the clouds and what they look like. I mean, who cares?
when oil wells are burning. It was nighttime, but so many fires made the clouds look red at the bottom with reflected light. There were so many things burning that I couldn't tell them apart. The buildings were clear, but many things lower to the ground were not. Incredibly, in the midst of all that chaos, I saw people running around. People were angry, scared, hiding or stealing from buildings. Some had the flag on their shoulders, and some had flag handkerchiefs round the
Isn't that something that already happened in America some time ago, and people were looting the shops? I think a few months ago, there was something going on in some part of America. I'm not sure where, but people were going into the shops and stealing stuff, and it was really bad. Yeah.
bottom half of
Which,
the
by the way, happens everywhere, all the time, but not like, when I say all the time, I don't mean like continuously, but it happens within generations. It's not a new thing. Okay, it's like earthquakes. Oh, an earthquake's going to happen. Yeah, earthquakes have happened for thousands of years and will continue to happen. It's not. This is not a prophecy. Okay.
their faces like a mask. Everywhere people were scared, running, angry, or fighting. I saw people using Civil War guns on each other, those old skinny rifles shooting at each other even as everything crumbled and toppled and burned. In front of all this, President Trump stood on the cracked podium with his head down, shoulders down, about to come down from it. I don't know if he was aware of everything going on in the background, but the scene was a good distance away from where he stood. I knew this was America's future. I recognized it because I've seen it so many times before. Anarchy, fighting, war, missiles, anger, and hatred amongst Americans, most of all the entire nation destroyed and on fire. After seeing this, the Lord repeated, Trump will be killed. It will not be tolerated that he rise again to disrupt greater plans that have been laid. It will not be tolerated that he return to public office.
So again, he will not return to public office. That's what God apparently told Celestial before. Trump will not become president. I made a video about that. She had it written down on her blog. Trump will not enter into the White House again. He will not become president again. And what happened? He became president. And then, oh yeah, God changed his mind because he gave the people their desire. So now she's saying the same thing again. I mean, how many more times? I guess until Trump really dies, and then they say, "Oh, see, she prophesied it." They're just waiting for him to drop dead, the poor guy.
To ruin plans that are bigger than he is, or disrupt things set in motion long ago. They will not give him a chance to reappear in history, and the Lord reminded me of several prophetic words to that effect on this blog. See the end of this post for links. The pedestal he was on is the office of the president. Once a great and noble institution, it has become trampled and disgusting with corruption. Chunks of what it means to be president have fallen off, and now even the steps it takes to get there are dirty, fallen, and shameful. The Lord then said 2021 will be a difficult and traumatizing year for America. The first month will bring damage and disruptions to the expectations of the American people, and there will be outcry, resistance, and great anger in the country. Separation will occur between its people, and the nation will become weakened from within. See this post. Ascendancy for more about lack of cohesion in the USA. The last thing God said this morning is that false prophets who continue to entice his people with false dreams, motivational preaching, and prophecies about this election and about their future, who continue to encourage them to put their hopes in President Trump.
So that's including you, Esther, because that's exactly what you did. You told people that Trump would never become president again. You told people that Biden would only be president for a short time, that Kamala Harris would take over, that she would absolutely destroy America, and that Trump would be killed, that he would be assassinated and he would die. And yet he lived. He was assassinated and he lived. So, or they tried to assassinate him and he lived. So you lied. You know, what you're reading here is about you. And she can't see it. And her followers can't see it. Even though they say the Bible is their authority. Yeah. And their authority tells them that these are not true prophets, they're false prophets.
And make them look to a man when they should be looking to him, the Father of all. He will punish them severely and tear down their wall. Ezekiel 13 says when prophets speak lies, when they build up a wall in the eyes of people, yet that wall is not supported by truth from God, it will be torn down by stormy forces until it falls. Ezekiel 13 verse 11. These are the words of today. False prophets will be punished and judged for using lies and human presumption to deceive and mislead people, and the people themselves will be punished for following and believing them instead of trusting only in God. Harm is intended to the sitting president, harm intended to follow him even into private life. Even when he comes down from the podium and goes back to being a normal US citizen, there is harm coming to make sure he will never rise again as a political figure.
So even if he doesn't, so this is another door she's opening for herself, a back door. So even if he doesn't get killed or assassinated by being a president, it can still happen when he's not a president. Yeah. Harm can come to him, whatever that means, you know, that he will never become president again. So why did you, God, the God of Celestial, why did you let him become president when you said you wouldn't? You didn't want him to become president. Now you're saying it again. What a joke. What an absolute joke.
This matter requires prayer, wisdom, and intercession, as I have always said. I saw America burning, the flag burning, America in distress and tumult, America under attack, America at war with herself.
But it's not all about America, right? Well, they think it's all about America. Yeah, that's what you think. You think it's all about America.
Which things have been shared times without number on this blog. The Lord said 2021 will be a difficult and traumatizing year for the USA. From the first month, she will experience difficulties, and I guess more will come after that. This post is directly related to the one titled Little Fires. Please make sure to read them together. Linked posts to read Little Fires, to be a martyr for Christ, the 44 honeycomb and bouquet.
Yeah, and 2021 wasn't at the times of COVID. Everyone had to stay indoors. I mean, you know, it's, or 2020, it started, prophecy of 2020. And that was the beginning of this COVID nonsense, yeah. And I mean, it's a joke. Prophesied about Trump being killed, and he didn't get killed. What else can I show you guys?
America in Turmoil series, Point 3 Deep State. POTUS. Thank you for visiting the Master's Voice. Subscribe to get all updates direct to your inbox. Share, like, and comment below. Be watchful.
Yeah, so, well, what can I say to that? It's interesting she uses AI. When AI was, in her opinion, part of the beast system. I'm sure she said that before. I'm sure she did. Yeah, so guys, I don't know your thoughts on it. Mike seems to think this is true. This is all true. But of course, it's she lied, you know. If I don't misunderstand you, you know, if I misunderstand you, I'm sorry, Mike. But yeah. Anyway, I wish people would just wake up from that and stop following these false prophets. You know, these false prophets were there in the times of Jesus and these false apostles. Yeah. And I actually talk about this in my other live streams when I talk about the history of it all. Uh, Jesus warned of the false apostles and the false teachers and the false apostles. I say God, God warned through his people. And they were there. They were the counterfeit. Okay, they were the counterfeit. They were not of God. And these people are continuing on today. They were there at the time of Jesus, and Jesus rebuked them. He said, "You are the father, the devil." And they're continuing on, and they want to bring people under bondage. And Jesus came to set them free from that. Set them free from that. There you go. Okay? Jesus is telling you you're free, but you want to put yourself back under the bondage. And I wish people would see it. So, yeah. So please share the video and like it and comment. Until next time, God bless.